Hi, AppSec engineers. Welcome to the first day of 2023. And I wish you all a very happy new year. And I wish that all of you have a great, productive new year in 2023. And I hope all of your security aspirations and dreams come true this year. Now, this video, I'm going to be talking about a few trends that I am seeing, I think are going to dominate the cycle in 2023 and slightly even beyond 2023. So I'm really excited to do this video on the first day of the year. Let's get started. While I'm sure there are several trends that you'll see across security, security is a pretty large space, and I'm sure you're going to see several trends being discussed across all of these different spaces. I'm going to kind of focus in on the AppSec cloud and cloud native space. So this is not going to be like a overall information security trend for 2023. I'm going to focus in on these three spaces because these are the spaces I know, and of course, there's a lot of innovation happening within this space as well that is pretty exciting for all of us. I'm going to be talking about three specific trends today as I go into what might happen in 2023 and beyond. Let's start off with the first trend that I think is going to pretty much dominate the cycle in 2023. And I think there are no surprises here. The trend that I think is going to be the most influential in 2023 is supply chain security. Now, supply chain security has kind of dominated the news cycle over the last couple of years. In fact, over the last year, I think in 2022, supply chain security has become bigger and bigger. There are a lot more startups doing supply chain security, which automatically signals that this is going to be something that is going to be very, very important in terms of security and people implementing security in the future, in the near future, and the long term future as well. Aside from this, supply chain security has also become a talking point for governments, especially with the US government and their adoption of supply chain security or their purported adoption of supply chain security. NIST has come out with the Secure Software Development Framework, or the SSDF, which is also a lot of it talks about supply chain security. So, supply chain security is something that I feel is going to be a pretty lasting trend. And I think this year is kind of going to take it to its peak or near peak kind of point where supply chain security is going to become extremely important. Now, what do I mean by supply chain security and what kind of trends am I anticipating around this? Basically, I think supply chain security is going to be important in terms of, first of all, there are lots of different elements of supply chain security that you are seeing today, and that's only increasing supply chain security in your app, in your cloud native environment with infrastructure as code, in your cloud environment itself, or other front end libraries, and any of those things pretty much capture the elements of supply chain security, and it is currently pretty hard to lock them down. So a lot of the supply chain security, I think this year is going to focus on how you can do this better in CI and GitHub Actions or Jenkins or where else in GitLab CI/CD or in any other CI/CD tool that you use. Or it's going to probably go into things like signing your artifacts and binaries and things like that. I think that's also going to become a very important aspect of supply chain security. I also think that the other aspect of supply chain security that is currently still not as nice as we'd like it to be is supply chain security, scanning security issues within containers or in source code or within your libraries that you use. They're still rife with a lot of issues. So I think a lot of the focus this year is going to go towards securing your libraries and scanning your libraries for supply chain issues. So one of the things that you can do as someone getting into security or someone already entrenched in security is start to look at these areas of supply chain security. Start to think about what are the different areas of supply chain security that you want to focus in on, because there's a lot even within supply chain security itself. So this is something that I think you should focus in on, try and understand. In fact, in AppSecEngineer, we have a whole lot of content on supply chain security. We have a whole lot amount of content on attacking supply chain security as well as around container supply chains and so on. So this is becoming a very important area, and we at AppSecEngineer are going to focus a lot of our energies creating some amazing content on supply chain security this year. So I think that's not going to stop, and I think we're going to keep continuing that trend this year as well. The other trend, or the second trend that I'm starting to see a lot out there, especially because we at V45, we work with a lot of companies that are on the cloud or transitioning to the cloud or migrating to the cloud. We're starting to see the signs of multi-cloud. So they're not only on AWS, or not only on Azure, or not only on GCP, they are on 2 or 3 of these cloud providers or even more of these cloud providers, depending on the type of projects and the types of workloads that they're dealing with. I think this is going to impact security extensively because let's say you're a large organization, and there are lots of large organizations out there, and you might be working in one, for instance. So in a large organization, you're going to see that a lot of people will be AWS people or AWS proponents and Azure proponents and GCP proponents. So these companies have started to take multi-cloud environments as a thing that they're going to do. So it's not that they're only going to settle in on AWS. It's likely that they're also settling in on AWS along with or another cloud provider or multiple cloud providers within the same organization, within multiple teams. Now, this is going to make security a lot more challenging, obviously, right? Managing one cloud itself has its own set of security challenges. But when you get into multi-cloud, you're dealing with a whole host of security challenges around identity, challenges around policy, challenges around the workload, challenges around implementing, again, access control across all of these different things. So it is important for you, if you are looking to learn cloud security, to try and broad base yourself, not just focusing on AWS or not just focusing on Azure. Try to get a little bit of a broad-based knowledge. Even when I say broad-based, doesn't mean that low depth. I mean, understand concepts in each of these things and understand them in a way that you can actually implement them. Now, this is, I think, largely led by the fact that you have powerful tools like Terraform that you can use infrastructure as code for to be able to spin up resources in all three clouds with the same kind of abstraction or deployment framework. So as a result of this, I think multi-cloud is going to become very important. And as a result, security is going to become that much more challenging. And as a result, you as somebody in security or somebody who's looking to get good with cloud security, I think you should not just stop yourself just learning one thing. I myself used to be extensively an AWS person, but today I have a lot more skills on both Azure and GCP simply because one, I have taken my knowledge of AWS and started to extend that to these two things. So they have the same set of concepts at a high level, all the concepts are the same. So what you should do is try and activate your pathways to be able to include IAM in AWS and what kind of concept extends to Azure or what kind of concepts extend to GCP. And you will start to create these relatability loops. So that makes it a lot more powerful for you to do. So definitely, I think multi-cloud is going to be there for a while. I think this is just the initial stage at which multi-cloud is being adopted. Not just me, but a lot of people in Gartner and all of these folks are starting to say that multi-cloud is going to be extensively more adopted over time. So definitely think about how you can gear yourself up. In fact, like I said, in AppSecEngineer, one of the things that we are doing is launching GCP soon, which will complete our trifecta of the popular cloud environments that people typically use. So definitely think about multi-cloud, think about how you can make yourself more valuable as a security professional or an engineering professional doing security in these cloud environments. This is going to be a thing that's going to last, I think, for a long time to come. The last trend that I'm going to talk about is a little niche compared to the other trends that I've explored, which are more macro trends. The last trend that I'm going to be talking about is Kubernetes security growing up. Now, what does that mean? And what does Kubernetes security growing up mean? So, Kubernetes is something that we've seen being extensively used over the last 2-3 years now. People are using it in production. Companies are running their entire infrastructure off Kubernetes, and especially on the cloud and cloud native Kubernetes and things like that. Now, what does that mean and why is it growing up only now? I've started to see that Kubernetes security being taken more seriously today. And people are actually finding real solutions, real products, and real tools that can help them do this a lot more effectively versus ever before. So I remember maybe a couple of years ago when I had to deal with, okay, how do I do this in Kubernetes or how do I solve the security problem in Kubernetes? There would not be too many tools that would do that, or there would not be too many resources that could help me do that. But today, I think that is happening. Not only because the ecosystem around Kubernetes is a lot more vibrant in terms of security, but the Kubernetes core project itself has started spending more time and energy on security related items. So for instance, recently Kubernetes has created a lot more capability around their service account token and the way you can manage service accounts in Kubernetes, which is a very important thing that was not there before. The same thing with supply chain security. Kubernetes has started signing their binaries with Cosign 6.0. If you're not sure what Cosign and 6.0 are, check out AppSecEngineer classes on container supply chain security. We talk about this extensively there. So Kubernetes has started signing their artifacts and also enforcing signatures with keyless cosign, things like that. Aside from that, you also see a lot more security driven projects in the CNCF and the extended ecosystem. So for instance, Cilium has come out with their sidecar less service meshes that are supposed to be much faster than the average Istio style service mesh. And of course, aside from all this, you also have the policy frame. Today, policy tools like Kivano and things like that have been used actively by companies in their Kubernetes, in governing Kubernetes. And this has become much, much more powerful than it used to be before. So I see that the Kubernetes security ecosystem is growing up, and it is something that is going to stay. Kubernetes is a project that's not going to go away anytime soon, and people are going to be using Kubernetes more and more extensively over time. So I'd recommend kind of focusing in on that as well. So I think if you are somebody, or if your organization is someone that is using Kubernetes in your day-to-day to run applications, then I think you should definitely spend time looking at these Kubernetes security elements and getting better knowledge of Kubernetes over time. We at AppSecEngineer are always investing a lot of time and labs and effort on Kubernetes. We're building more challenges around Kubernetes as well. So this is something that we're going to continue to focus in on in the year 2023, and I don't think that's going to change even in 2024. We're going to be doing a lot more Kubernetes work. We already have some of the best Kubernetes security content out there, which you'd not see anywhere else, but this year we're kind of amping that up as well. I think we're going to see a lot more Kubernetes security content being rolled out on AppSecEngineer. So that's it. Those were the trends that I predict for 2023 that I think are going to be seen in 2023 and even beyond 2023. Of course, this is a prediction. It's not necessarily fact. It's just my opinion. What do you think are some of the trends that you're likely to see in this space in 2023? Let me know. Comment below. Please like, share, and subscribe this video. It will help us come out with better content like this. Thank you so much for watching. Signing off now.